The day dripped slowly, like raindrops down a grimy windowpane, bringing nothing but cold and despair. Huddled on the cold cobblestones, Maria felt the dampness seep through her thin clothes, chilling her to the bone. The smell of wet earth mixed with the sickly stench of exhaust fumes, irritating her sensitive nostrils. Her fingers, stiff from the cold, clutched a bouquet of withered violets, the last ones she had managed to pick that morning, before her sightless eyes had merged the world into a single gray blur. She heard the rustle of footsteps, laughter, fragments of conversations, but no one stopped. No one wanted to buy her flowers. No one even wanted to notice her. Since the illness had taken her sight, and shortly after, her beloved husband, Maria's world had shrunk to the size of this single cramped curbstone. She was left alone, penniless, with her only son, John, who, instead of supporting her, saw her merely as a burden and a source of shame. John. That name tasted of bitterness. Once her pride, he had now become her tormentor. Every morning before the sun could rise, he would yank her from her brief sleep, grab her arm, and throw her out onto the street. "Go and earn your keep, you blind old hag," he would hiss, his words striking her heart like stones. Sometimes, when she returned without money, hunger and beatings awaited her. She felt his anger, his contempt, and then the pain that spread through her body, leaving bruises and a deep wound in her soul. Today, John had beaten her again, all because she'd accidentally tripped in the kitchen and dropped a slice of bread. She felt the burning pain on her cheek where his heavy hand had left its mark. The tears that now streamed down her face mingled with the raindrops, but no one saw her suffering. She heard people walking by, their shoes tapping on the pavement, the sound of cars creating a monotonous, indifferent drone. She felt invisible, unwanted, like the withered violets she held in her trembling hand. Her stomach rumbled with hunger, and in her heart she felt a void so vast that she feared she would never find the strength to breathe again. Suddenly, amidst the city's clamor, she heard a different sound, a measured, confident step that was not rushing like the others, and that scent. It was neither exhaust fumes nor rain. It was a subtle yet distinct aroma of expensive perfume, mixed with something fresh and clean. The step stopped right in front of her. Maria curled up even tighter, fearing another kick, another humiliation. "Excuse me, are these flowers for sale?" she heard a low, melodious voice ask. It was calm, polite, devoid of any hint of contempt. Maria raised a trembling hand, still clutching the violets tightly. Yes, sir," she whispered, her voice barely a breath. She felt someone's gaze on her, but there was no judgment in it, only concern. "How much do you want for them?" the voice asked. Maria couldn't name a price. Usually, John told her what to demand. Now she just remained silent, feeling her heart pound wildly. "Let it be 10 times what you usually get." "Please," she heard, and then felt a warm, large hand gently take her numb fingers and place something hard and cool in them. Coins? No, it was more than that. A paper bill. Maria had never held such a large denomination. She trembled. "Please take it, Maria," the voice said, and Maria was surprised that someone knew her name. "Please don't worry about the flowers. They are beautiful. And now, I have one more request. Would you agree to come with me? I need your help. I have a proposal for you that might change your life." Maria was speechless. Help? Her? A blind old woman? No one had ever spoken to her with such tenderness, such respect. But fear still paralyzed her. What if it was a trap? What if it was another way to exploit her? I can't, sir. I have to go home," she stammered, though the word home in her mouth sounded like bitter irony. "I understand your concerns," the voice said, and Maria felt his hand gently touch her shoulder. "But please trust me. My name is Adam Carter. I'm a businessman, and I saw how your son treats you. I couldn't just walk by. I want to help you. Just allow me to do so." Maria still hesitated, but there was something in his voice that calmed her. A certain extraordinary strength and kindness. For the first time in years, she felt someone's warmth, a gentle touch that was neither a strike nor a tug. Her heart, so long hardened by pain, began to melt. "Let's go, Maria," Adam said, and his hand gently took her elbow, helping her stand up. Maria felt her numb legs tremble. For the first time in ages, someone was guiding her. Not pulling, not pushing, but leading. Soon, she found herself in the warm, dry interior of a car. The smell of leather mingled with that same pleasant aroma of perfume. The seats were soft, and the sound of the engine was quiet and soothing. Maria felt the warmth spread through her body, dispelling the cold that had eaten into her bones. Finally, she could breathe. The car stopped in front of what Adam called her new home. The door opened, and Maria felt her feet step onto a soft carpet. The interior was spacious, warm, and smelled fresh. Adam gently led her to the bathroom. "Please take a warm bath, Maria. I left fresh clothes and towels for you. Take your time." Maria felt the stream of warm water on her. For the first time in years, she could wash without haste, without fear. She scrubbed her skin, washing off the dirt, the fatigue, and the humiliation. When she came out of the bath, a soft cotton bathrobe and a stack of clean, fragrant clothes were waiting for her. She touched the delicate fabric, unable to believe it was all for her. She felt as if she were in a fairy tale. When she entered the dining room, the smell of freshly prepared food made her stomach clench with hunger. A warm soup, fresh bread, and steaming tea were waiting for her on the table. Adam sat on the other side of the table, watching her with a smile. "Please eat, Maria. You must be hungry." Maria ate slowly, savoring every bite. The taste of warm food was like balm for her soul. When she finished, she felt full and safe, for the first time in a long time. "Maria, I know this might all be a shock to you," Adam said, breaking the silence. "But please believe me that my intentions are sincere. I want to ensure you have a dignified life, a safe home, and I want you to know that you are not alone." Maria's heart beat faster. Tears, this time tears of relief and gratitude, streamed down her cheeks. "Why, sir? Why are you doing this?" she whispered. Adam sighed. "Maria, I have seen a lot of injustice in my life, but the sight of you, so defenseless yet full of dignity, moved me deeply. I want you to believe in goodness again, and I want you to know that you are a valuable person." Maria spent the rest of the evening in a soft armchair, listening to Adam's soothing voice as he told her about his life and the plans he had for her. For the first time in years, she felt hope. When she lay down in the clean, fragrant bed, she listened to the silence, which was so different from the city noise and John's screams. However, her peace did not last long. The next morning, as Maria came down to the living room, she heard a loud banging at the door. Her heart leaped into her throat. It was John. His voice, full of anger and outrage, echoed through the entire house like thunder. "Open up! I know she's in there. Give me back my mother. She's a thief. She ran away from me and took my money. She's crazy. She has to come home. She's a burden to me, but she still has to come back." Maria shrank back, feeling fear again gripping her throat. Was this short moment of peace about to end? Was her nightmare about to return? She heard Adam's steps as he calmly walked to the door. "Please don't be afraid, Maria," he said, his voice quiet but full of determination. "I won't let that man hurt you." Maria heard Adam open the door. The clamor outside intensified immediately. John was yelling, his voice sharp and aggressive. "Where is my mother? Give her back to me. She's mine. She's an old blind woman who can't take care of herself. Someone must have incited her to run away. She's crazy, I'm telling you." Maria felt Adam's gaze on her. She felt his calmness, his strength. "Maria, please go into my study," he said. "It's safe there. Don't listen to his lies." Maria obeyed. She entered the study, closing the door behind her. She sat in a soft armchair, trying to calm her breathing. But John's words still echoed in her head. Crazy? Thief? Burden? Would people believe him? Would Adam believe her? Muffled voices came from behind the door. She heard Adam speaking calmly but firmly to John. "Please, calm down, John. Maria is here voluntarily. She's not your property. And she's not crazy. She's a tired woman who needs peace and care." John snorted a laugh. "Care? She's just a burden. She's blind and useless. Someone must have convinced her to run away. She probably lied to you that she was in need. She's a master manipulator." Maria clenched her fists. She felt anger rising in her heart. For the first time in years, she felt anger, not just fear. Anger at John, at his vileness, at his lies. Anger at herself for allowing him to treat her like that for so long. Suddenly, she heard Adam raise his voice. It wasn't a shout, but firm, warning words. "John, please leave my property immediately. If not, I will call the police. Maria is under my care, and I will not allow anyone to harass her. And as for the money you're talking about, I know Maria never stole anything from you. On the contrary, you were robbing and exploiting her." In response, John burst into a rage. Maria heard him kicking the door, shouting insults. "I'll find you yet. You old hag. You'll regret this. And you rich fool, you don't know who you're messing with. I'll destroy you yet. You'll regret ever meeting her." Then there was silence. Maria waited, holding her breath. Had John left? Had Adam managed to chase him away? After a moment, she heard a soft knock on the study door. "Maria, it's me, Adam. You can open it." Maria opened the door. Adam stood in the doorway, his face calm, but weariness was visible in his eyes. "He's gone," he said. "But I know this isn't the end. He won't give up." Maria felt her heart clench with fear. "What will happen now?" she whispered. Adam walked over to her and gently took her hand. "Now we'll have to be careful. But please believe me that you are safe. I will do everything in my power to stop John. But I must warn you, he is a ruthless man. He will try to destroy you, slander you, convince everyone that you are crazy. He will try to use all his influence to get you back, because he only sees you as a source of income. You must be strong, Maria. You must fight for your freedom." Maria looked at him, her sightless eyes searching for his face. She felt his warmth, his support. For the first time in her life, she felt she had someone who would defend her. But Adam's words, though comforting, sparked a new fear in her. John would not give up. He would try to get to her. He would try to destroy her newfound peace. Could Adam protect her from his malice? Would the world believe her or John? Maria felt the shadow of her old fear beginning to hover over her again. She felt that this was only the beginning of the real fight. But deep in her heart, despite the fear, a spark of hope glowed. Hope that this time goodness would triumph, and she would finally find the peace and justice she so richly deserved. She felt it was time to stand and fight, not just for herself, but for the dignity that John had so brutally taken from her. And Adam, her savior, stood beside her, ready for this battle. Days passed, and the peace in Adam's home was a balm for Maria after her long and painful journey. Every morning she woke in silence, no longer fearing screams or blows. The fresh air, the scent of flowers from Adam's garden, the gentle sounds of domestic life. All of it felt like a melody of freedom to her. Adam treated her with extraordinary tenderness and respect, something she had never experienced before. He talked to her about her past, her dreams, and what she wanted to do. For the first time, someone truly listened to her, without judgment, without diminishing her suffering. Maria slowly began to regain her strength, and with it, piece by piece, she regained herself. She started telling Adam about her life with John, his manipulations, and how he had gradually stripped her of her dignity and money. Adam listened patiently, and in his eyes she saw not only compassion but determination. One afternoon, as they sat in the living room drinking tea, Maria heard a faint rustle in the garden. Her heart beat faster. Was it John? Adam, seeing her sudden tension, reassured her. "It's just the wind, Maria. Please don't worry." But Maria felt that something was wrong. Her senses, sharpened by years of living in darkness, detected subtle changes in the environment. Suddenly, she heard a quiet snap of a branch. Adam heard it too. His face grew serious. He stood up and went to the window. Maria, though blind, felt the tension in the air. She heard Adam quietly cursing under his breath. "What happened?" she asked softly. Adam turned to her. There was anger in his voice. "It's John, again. He must have sneaked in here." Maria felt a cold shiver run down her spine. John had not given up. His shadow still hung over her, threatening to destroy her newfound peace. Adam walked to the phone. "I have to call the police. This is harassment." Maria felt her hands tremble. "Will it help?" she whispered. "He is cunning. He always manages to get out of every situation." Adam looked at her with determination. "Not this time. This time we will stop him, but we have to act wisely. He will try to convince everyone that you are crazy, that you're lying. We must be prepared for that." The next day, as Maria and Adam sat at breakfast, they heard the doorbell ring. Adam opened it. 2 police officers stood before him. "Good morning, Mr. Carter. We are here about a harassment report. Your nephew, Mr. John, has filed a complaint against Maria." Maria felt the blood drain from her face. John had acted quickly. The officers walked inside. One of them, young and stout, looked at Maria with suspicion. "Maria, Mr. John claims you ran away from his house, taking his money. He claims you are mentally unstable and need care." Maria felt her heart pounding in her chest. John's words, the same lies she had heard for years, had caught up with her again. She wanted to scream that it wasn't true, but her voice was stuck in her throat, choked by fear and helplessness. Adam stood beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Gentlemen, this is absurd. Maria is my guest. She was robbed and abused by John. He is the manipulator and a fraud." The police officers exchanged glances. "We have conflicting testimonies," the older officer said. "We need to clarify this. Maria, would you agree to come with us to the precinct and give a statement?" Maria felt fear paralyze her again. Was this the end of her brief freedom? Would John get her again? She looked at Adam, searching his gaze for support. She felt his presence, his strength. But what if it wasn't enough? What if the world believed John? Could Adam protect her from his malice? Maria felt the shadow of her old fear beginning to hover over her again. She felt that this was only the beginning of the real fight, and her heart was beating loudly, foretelling the approaching storm. A storm in which her dignity, her freedom, and her newfound peace were at stake. Maria clenched her fists, feeling a spark of rebellion flicker within her despite the fear. She didn't want to return to the hell John had created for her. She didn't want to be his victim again. But did she have the strength to face his malice and manipulations in the face of a law that is often blind to the truth? She felt her heart, like a drum, beating the rhythm of the upcoming confrontation. Would the justice she had waited for so long finally have a chance to triumph? Or would John manage to submerge her again? These questions swirled in her head like frantic birds, giving her no rest. Her entire newly regained, fragile balance hung by a thread, and Maria felt that every moment could decide her fate. Adam, seeing her internal struggle, gently squeezed her hand. "We will go together. Maria, I will be with you every step of the way. I won't let John hurt you, or let anyone believe his lies." His words, spoken with such certainty, were like balm on her wounded soul. She took a deep breath, trying to control her trembling. She knew the decision to go to the precinct was a huge step. It meant diving back into a painful past, into a world of lies and accusations from which she so desperately wanted to escape. But at the same time, she felt it was the only path to true freedom. If she wanted to get rid of John's shadow once and for all, she had to face him. On the way to the precinct, Maria felt how every turn, every jolt of the car, awoke new waves of fear in her. She heard the noise of the street, the car horns, the distant sirens. All these sounds that were once indifferent to her now seemed to intensify her anxiety. Adam, sitting next to her, whispered words of encouragement from time to time. His voice was her only anchor in this chaos. When they entered the precinct building, Maria felt the weight of other people's stares on her, even though she couldn't see them. She heard the rustle of papers, quiet conversations, the sound of footsteps in the corridor. All of it built an atmosphere of severity and gravity. They were led into a small room where the same older police officer who had been at Adam's house was waiting for them. "Please, sit down," he said. His voice, though still unemotional, was more subdued. Maria sat on the hard chair, feeling her muscles tense. Adam sat next to her, his hand resting on her shoulder again. "Maria, I understand that the situation is difficult for you, but we need to gather all the information. Please tell us what happened." Maria took a deep breath. She tasted bitter bile in her mouth. Talking about years of suffering, John's manipulations, his cruelty was like opening old, scarred wounds. Her voice trembled at first, but with every word spoken, every truth revealed, she felt herself regain strength. She recounted how John took control of her finances after her husband's death, how he gradually took away her dignity, how he threatened and blackmailed her, exploiting her blindness. She told how he forced her to sell flowers on the street, taking every penny she earned, how he locked her in the house, cutting her off from the world. The words flowed from her like a river, carrying pain, sorrow, and rage. The officer listened in silence, taking notes. Maria felt that his posture was slowly changing. The initial suspicion gave way to focus and even a touch of sympathy. Adam occasionally supplemented her testimony, presenting facts and evidence he had gathered. He spoke of witnesses, bank documents, and how John had tried to blackmail him into handing Maria over. Maria felt his presence was invaluable. Without him, alone, she would likely have broken down under the weight of the accusations and her own fear. When she finished, silence fell in the room. Maria felt exhausted, but at the same time light, as if she had shed an enormous burden. The officer put down his pen. "Thank you, Maria. Your testimony is very detailed. It will certainly help us with the further investigation." Maria felt a spark of hope illuminate her soul. Maybe this time, justice would truly prevail. But suddenly, the door to the room burst open, and John stormed in. His face was contorted with fury, and his eyes blazed with hatred. "It's all lies. This woman is crazy. She wants to destroy me!" he screamed, his voice echoing off the walls. Maria felt fear clench her heart again, and her newfound peace shattered into pieces. John was here, and he was not going to give up. John, with disheveled hair and foam at the mouth, lunged towards Maria, reaching out with trembling hands. Adam reacted immediately, stepping between them. "Calm down, John. This is a police station," the officer said, getting up abruptly. His voice, previously subdued, now sharpened. Ignoring the warning, John tried to bypass Adam, snarling, "She's making it all up. She's sick. She should go back home, where she belongs." Maria, despite her blindness, felt his presence right next to her, almost within arm's reach. She felt his breath, laden with anger and alcohol, and that familiar, repulsive smell that had meant suffering to her for years. Her heart pounded wildly, and her hands involuntarily clenched into fists. She felt her old fear return with double force, wrapping around her like icy tentacles. The officer, seeing John's aggression, grabbed his arm. "I'm warning you. One more word and you'll be arrested for disturbing the peace." John struggled, but the officer was stronger. "This is unfair. She robbed me. She's the criminal!" he screamed, his voice becoming increasingly hysterical. Maria, hearing these lies, felt a sudden surge of rage. Years of silence, humiliation, and pain accumulated within her, creating a powerful wave. "You're lying!" she shouted, her voice trembling but full of determination. "You robbed me. You imprisoned me. You destroyed my life." Silence fell in the room. Even John was momentarily silenced, surprised by her outburst. Maria, feeling everyone's gaze on her, took a deep breath. "For years, I was silent because I was afraid. I was afraid of you, John. I was afraid no one would believe me, but I am not afraid anymore. I will tell the truth, the whole truth, regardless of what you say." Her words, spoken with such force, seemed to fill the entire room, echoing off the walls. The officer holding John looked at Maria with a new expression, one of respect and understanding. Adam, feeling her determination, squeezed her hand. "Maria is telling the truth. I have evidence. Conversation recordings, bank documents, testimonies from witnesses who saw John abuse and rob Maria." John, hearing about the evidence, paled. His hysteria gave way to panic. "It's all fabricated. He's lying too. They want to frame me," he shouted, but his voice was weaker now, lacking its former confidence. The older officer nodded. "John, your aggression and these unfounded accusations won't help you in this situation. You will be detained for questioning. We have enough evidence to initiate proceedings." Maria felt a weight lift from her heart, like a stone. She heard the struggle, John's quiet curses, and then the sound of handcuffs. The officers led him out of the room, and the door closed behind him. Silence returned to the room, but this time it was a silence full of relief and hope. The older officer turned to Maria and Adam. "Maria, Adam, thank you for your cooperation. I assure you that this case will be treated with the utmost seriousness. John will face the consequences of his actions." Maria felt tears well up in her eyes. They were tears of joy, tears of liberation. Finally, justice had a chance to triumph. After leaving the precinct, Maria and Adam found themselves in a warm, sunny afternoon. The fresh air, the scent of blooming trees, and the singing of birds seemed more beautiful than ever. Maria took a deep breath, feeling every atom of her body fill with peace. "Thank you, Adam," she said, her voice full of emotion. "I would never have done this without you." Adam smiled, his blind eyes radiating warmth. "Don't thank me, Maria. You were the strong one. You dared to speak. I was just there." "I..." In the following weeks, Maria's life began to change in ways she had never even dreamed of. John's trial was long and painful, but thanks to the testimonies of Maria, Adam, and the evidence collected, John was convicted of fraud, abuse, and theft. Maria recovered her money, and more importantly, she recovered her dignity and freedom. Adam, with the help of lawyers, helped her settle all the formalities, ensuring her financial and legal safety. Maria, for the first time in years, felt that she could live life to the fullest. With Adam's help, she began to learn Braille, getting to know the world anew. She discovered a passion for ceramics, creating beautiful vessels that she sold at local markets. Her hands, which once trembled with fear, now skillfully shaped the clay, creating works of art. Adam was her constant support. Their friendship deepened every day, becoming the foundation of a new, happy life. They spent long hours together talking, laughing, sharing their dreams and plans. Maria learned to trust him implicitly, and Adam found a kindred spirit in her, someone who understood him without words. One sunny afternoon, sitting in Adam's garden, Maria felt a gentle breeze on her face. She heard the rustle of leaves, the singing of birds, and the quiet murmur of the stream. She felt the warmth of the sun on her skin and the scent of blooming roses. "Adam," she said, her voice calm and full of joy. "You know, I once thought the world was dark and cruel, but now I know it is full of beauty and goodness. You just have to open your heart and let the light in." Adam smiled, placing his hand on hers. "It has always been that way, Maria. Sometimes we just need someone to help us see it." Maria, closing her eyes, felt peace pour into her soul. She knew her life would never be the same. The past, though painful, had taught her strength and perseverance. The future, though unknown, was full of hope and possibilities. She felt ready for whatever fate might bring, because she had Adam by her side and in her heart, a newfound faith in goodness. And so, surrounded by beauty and love, Maria, the blind widow who once sold flowers on the street, found her true happiness, proving that even in the darkest hours, hope always blooms.